Imagine sitting down at this really bustling, noisy restaurant.
Yeah, lots of energy in the room.
Exactly. And the waiter walks over and just drops this massive steaming platter right in the center of your table.
Oh, man.
On it is this giant split open fish head. And it's completely buried under like a mountain of ruby red, aggressively fragrant chilies.
Just covered.
Right. And the aroma, it just hits your nose before the plate even touches the wood. Well, welcome to the Taste China Learn English Deep Dive.
It is fantastic to be here. We've got an incredibly flavorful journey ahead of us today, I think.
We really do. So here's our mission for this deep dive. We are exploring basically a dual masterclass in both linguistics and gastronomy.
Right, combining language and food.
Exactly. We're focusing entirely on the famously fiery food culture of Hunan province in China, which is a regional cuisine known as Shanghai.
Shanghai, yeah.
So for you listening, we're going to learn the English vocabulary you need to describe some truly complex flavors. And at the same time, unpack the cultural soul behind the food itself.
It's such a great approach. We're using food as a vehicle to build a stronger English vocabulary.
I love it. And I want to say right up front to you, the listener, whether you're an English beginner looking for, the right descriptive words to use at a dinner party, or maybe you're a culinary adventurer hunting for your next spicy obsession.
Oh, yeah.
This conversation is designed to be really clear, accessible, and honestly, mouth-watering. We're taking our time with these words so you can really, well, digest them.
Pun completely intended, I assume.
Oh, definitely intended.
I like it. But, before we can fully grasp the food, we really have to understand the environment that created it.
Right, the geography.
Exactly. So Hunan province is nestled in south central China, and geographically it's defined by these absolutely stunning mist-covered mountains and deep river valleys.
It's beautiful.
It really is. Historically, you might know it as the home province of Chairman Mao. But from a culinary perspective, I mean, it's a place that practically runs on chili peppers.
Just absolutely swimming in them.
Yeah.
And there's an environmental reason for that, isn't there? I mean, it's not just that they like the taste. The geography actually dictates the diet.
That's spot on. Because of those beautiful mountains and rivers we mentioned, Hunan has a very humid, damp climate.
Okay.
So historically, the local people ate incredibly spicy food as a biological tool, really, to survive the dampness.
Wait, really? A biological tool?
Yeah, the intense heat from the peppers makes you sweat, and that helps clear that heavy, humid moisture right out of your body. It's basically food engineered for the environment.
Oh, I love when culture and biology intersect like that. That's fascinating.
It makes total sense when you think about it.
It does. Now, to truly appreciate this cuisine, we need the right words,
Yeah.
right? You can't just take a bite of Hunan food and say, oh, it's hot.
No, that doesn't do it justice.
Exactly. It completely misses the depth of what's happening in your mouth. So we're going on a bit of a vocabulary tour today.
Let's do it. We need the foundational building blocks because the flavor profile of Shanghai goes way, way beyond just a simple flat burn on your tongue.
Right. So let's start with a really critical English word that defines this cuisine. And that word is pungent,
Pungent.
spelled Pungent.
Pungent. Now, the standard dictionary definition of pungent is having a sharply strong taste or smell.
Right. Now, I have to push back a little on how we use this in everyday English.
Okay, go ahead.
Because usually, when someone says a smell is pungent, they mean something pretty unpleasant.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
think of like a damp basement or maybe harsh cleaning chemicals
Yeah.
or old gym socks.
Exactly, the locker room smell.
Right. So how does a word with that kind of negative baggage translate to appetizing, delicious food?
It's a really great question, and it's actually a very common hurdle for English learners.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So in the culinary world, pungent doesn't mean spoiled or chemical. It refers to the sharply strong, vibrant, fresh aroma of the ingredients.
Wow.
Think of the volatile oils inside a freshly chopped garlic clove or a bruised chili pepper. When those oils hit the air, they trigger the trigeminal nerve in your nose.
Okay, so it's a literal physical reaction.
Exactly. It's not just a scent, it's a physical sensation that literally wakes up your entire nervous system.
Wow.
That sharp, piercing aroma just cuts through everything else in the room. And that is the true meaning of a pungent culinary aroma.
Ah, I see. So it's about the intensity and the sharpness of the fresh pepper
Yeah.
rather than just a bad smell.
Yes, precise.
It's an aggressive freshness, which connects perfectly to our second vocabulary word today, and that is zesty.
Zesty.
Spelled Z-E-S-T-Y. Zesty.
Now, zesty means energetic, active, and full of
I've
flavor.
always liked the sound of that word. It just sounds exactly like what it means, kind of bright and bouncy.
It really does. And in Hunan cooking, the spice is described as zesty because it's a deeply energetic heat.
Energetic heat.
Yeah, if you compare it to the food in neighboring Sichuan province, right? They use peppercorns that literally numb your mouth and make your lips feel heavy.
Oh, yeah, the numbing spice.
Right. But Hunan spice is the complete opposite. It doesn't numb you at all. It stimulates you, gets your heart rate up and your blood flowing.
So to recap for our English learners tuning in, pungent is that sharp, unmistakable aroma that physically hits your nose.
Yes.
And zesty is the lively, energetic feeling of the flavor waking up your body.
You've got it perfectly. Those two words are the absolute baseline for understanding Shanghai.
All right, well, it's one thing to understand pungent and zesty in theory, but to actually survive a Hunan dinner, you have to face the dish we talked about at the very beginning of the deep dive.
The big one.
The king of the table.
Right. Duo Jiao Yu Tu, which is steamed fish head with chopped chili.
I mean, if you sit down at a big round banquet table in Changsha, this massive platter is taking center stage.
It is the main event.
We've got this delicate, giant fish head,
Mm-hmm.
completely blanketed in bright red chopped chilies. But the secret to this dish isn't just chopping up fresh peppers, right?
Not at all.
There is a really specific preparation involved, which brings us to our third vocabulary word, fermented.
Fermented.
Yeah, spelled F-E-R-M-E-N-T-E-D, fermented.
This is where the science of flavor really gets fascinating because these chilies aren't just picked off the vine and thrown right on the fish.
Right.
They've undergone a chemical aging process. They are mixed with salt and aged in sealed ceramic jars. And that allows natural lactic acid bacteria to break down the sugars inside the peppers.
Got it. And it completely transforms the ingredient. I mean, it's almost exactly like the difference between fresh grape juice and an aged bottle of wine.
Oh, that's a brilliant analogy.
Because the grape juice is sweet and simple, but the fermentation process of the wine builds all this really complex character.
That is exactly what happens here. The fermentation removes the raw, grassy, aggressive bite of a fresh green or red pepper. And it replaces that raw heat with a deeply complex, salty, umami, and slightly sour flavor.
Wow. So it basically gives the heat a soul.
That's a great way to put it.
It's not just burning you, it's giving you this savory, acidic richness
Yes.
that you can really only get when thyme and bacteria work together.
Exactly. And that complex fermented chili oil slowly seeps into the fish as it steams, which naturally brings us to the texture of the dish.
Yes, let's talk about the actual eating experience.
Mm.
The fish meat itself is described using our fourth word, tender.
Tender.
Spelled T-E-N-D-E-R, tender. Meaning the meat is very soft, delicate, and incredibly easy to chew.
I mean, it practically melts. You don't need a knife. You honestly barely need teeth.
Really?
Yeah, the meat just falls apart under your chopstick.
Oh, wow. And then there's the heat. Because the chilies are fermented, the heat is actually quite sneaky, isn't it?
Very sneaky.
It doesn't punch you in the mouth on the very first bite. You take one bite of that tender fish, and you just taste the salty, sour, savory notes.
Right. It lures you in.
Yeah. You think, oh, this isn't so bad. You take a second bite, and suddenly, like 5 minutes into the meal, your forehead just starts to drip with sweat.
And that forehead sweat is the biological manifestation of that zesty energy we defined earlier.
Oh.
Your body is reacting to the spice, clearing out the dampness, just like we talked about.
Exactly. But here is the absolute best part of the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you finish the fish, and you're left with this massive platter filled with a puddle of red, oily, savory, spicy, fermented broth.
The best part.
Now, you don't just ask the waiter to take the plate away. That would be a tragedy.
A complete culinary crime.
Instead, you order a big bowl of plain white wheat noodles, and you drop those noodles right into that leftover spicy sauce.
Oh, yes.
Think of the noodles as a delicious edible sponge. They're completely neutral on their own, but they soak up every last drop of that incredibly pungent oil and savory broth.
The contrast is just amazing. The white noodles turn red, capturing all the complex flavor the fish left behind. For a lot of people, those noodles at the end of the meal are actually the highlight.
I am officially starving right now.
Me too.
But we need to shift gears because from the fancy, visually stunning fish head at a banquet table, we're heading somewhere much louder.
Okay, where to?
We are walking out onto the busy, neon-lit streets of Changsha, the capital city of Hunan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And out on the streets, the culinary rules definitely change. Things get a lot more visually intimidating.
That is an understatement. We're talking about Changsha's most famous and infamous street snack,
Oh.
chou du fu,
Oh, man.
which in English we just call stinky tofu.
It is legendary. And we have to be completely honest about the sensory experience here. It is not pretty.
No, it's not.
It's deep fried, it's pitch black, and it famously smells exactly like a dirty locker room on a hot day.
Oh, absolutely.
You can honestly smell it from 3 blocks away.
You really can.
Eh.
Which naturally leads to the obvious question, right? If I'm an English learner visiting China, and I'm walking down a vibrant street and I see a vendor selling coal black bricks of tofu that literally smell like gym socks,
Yeah.
why on earth would I take a bite?
That is the big question. And that brings us to our next vocabulary word, which perfectly explains the psychology of this snack. Deceptive.
Deceptive, spelled D-E-C-E-P-T-I-V-E.
Right.
Deceptive,
Right.
meaning it gives an appearance or an impression that is completely different from the actual truth. It's basically a trick.
Precisely. Stinky Tofu is a masterclass in culinary expectation versus reality. The smell is alarming to your brain.
Definitely alarm.
The black color is completely unnatural for food, but the taste is an incredibly rich, savory, garlicky dream.
I was actually reading up on the mechanics of how the street vendors prepare this, and the engineering of the snack is just brilliant.
Oh, it really is.
They take this fermented tofu and deep fry it in screaming hot oil until the outside forms a thick, hard shell. It becomes completely crunchy.
Yes, crunchy.
But they don't stop there.
No, they don't.
Once it's crunchy and black, the vendor takes a small tool, like a chopstick or a pair of tongs, and literally pokes a hole right into the center of that crispy square. They basically break the shell.
And that broken shell acts like a tiny bowl.
Right.
Into that hole, they pour a liquid mixture of fresh garlic, zesty chilies, cilantro, and a rich, savory soup broth.
Oh, wow.
So the crunchy exterior holds all that liquid inside.
So it's essentially stuffed with flavor.
Right.
When you finally muster up the courage to take that first bite, your teeth break through the crunchy outside, and all that savory, spicy, garlicky juice literally squirts out into your mouth.
It's amazing.
The contrast between the intimidating locker room smell and that warm, rich flavor explosion, that's what makes it so addictive.
It's an interactive, multi-sensory food. You have
Yep.
to actively overcome your biological fear of the deceptive smell.
Right, you have to push past it.
Exactly. And your reward for that bravery is this crunchy, juicy umami bomb.
It rewards bravery. I love that concept. But, let's step away from the loud street food and the giant banquet tables for a moment.
Okay.
What does the everyday person in Hunan eat when they're just at home? Like, what does comfort food look like in a place that loves pungent, zesty flavors?
To understand the home kitchen in Hunan, you really have to look at how they preserve food for the winter. And a huge part of that domestic flavor profile revolves around smoke.
Yes, specifically Lei Yu, which is Hunan smoked pork.
This is a massive staple of rural life in the province.
Okay.
Before modern refrigeration, families in these misty mountains needed a way to keep meat through the damp winters. So they would hang strips of fatty pork high above the kitchen hearth, where wood fires burned daily to heat the home.
Oh, that sounds so cozy.
Over months, the smoke from pine branches and local wood slowly cures and preserves the meat.
And that process creates our next descriptive word, woody,
Woody.
spelled W-O-O-D-Y, woody. The meat absorbs the essence of the environment. It tastes like wood fires, pine, and mountain air.
It's an incredibly earthy, grounding flavor, especially compared to the bright, zesty chilies.
It's pure comfort. And the way they cook it is just as important, right? They don't usually eat a giant steak of smoked pork.
Oh no, it's too rich for that.
They slice it thin and stir fry it, often using wild vegetables or dried long beans foraged right from those mountains.
The contrast there is just amazing. You have the rich, fatty, woody smoke of the pork balancing against the fresh, slightly bitter taste of wild mountain greens.
It sounds like the perfect meal after a long day in the cold.
It absolutely is. But there's another home cooked dish we definitely have to highlight. It's a staple in every household and humble restaurant, and it's considered the ultimate compliment to a chef's ability to balance flavor.
Oh, you're talking about Nongji Xiao Chow Roo, which in English is simply fried pork with peppers.
It sounds so basic, but it is deeply, deeply profound. In local slang, a perfectly executed plate of this pork is called a rice killer.
A rice killer. You know, when I first heard that phrase, I had to stop and think about the mechanics of it.
It's great slang.
It really is. It reminds me of how, in English, we might call a highly entertaining movie a popcorn killer.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the movie is so engaging that you sit in the theater and mindlessly eat an entire massive bucket of popcorn without even realizing you're doing it.
That is the exact same psychological and physical mechanism.
So a rice killer is a dish that is so intensely savory, so salty, so rich with pork fat, and so packed with zesty chilies that your mouth is just overwhelmed.
Completely overwhelmed.
It literally forces you to eat bowl after bowl of plain, unseasoned white rice just to manage the intensity of the flavor. Basically, the pork demands the rice.
It demands a neutral canvas. The fried pork and green peppers are aggressively pungent.
Right.
Your palate needs the gentle, soft, warm blandness of the white rice to soothe the burn and soak up the salt. You take a small bite of the intense pork, and your brain immediately says, "Give me 3 bites of rice to put out the fire."
And before you know it, you've killed 3 bowls of rice and you're perfectly full.
Yeah.
It's such a brilliant way to describe how the components of a meal rely on each other. The pork is the star of the show, but the white rice is the absolute necessary survival tool to get through it.
That harmony between extreme flavor and comforting neutrality, that is the definition of a great home-cooked meal in Hunan.
So let's take a breath and synthesize everything we've uncovered today. We've gone on quite the linguistic and culinary journey.
We really have.
For anyone learning English or anyone who just wants to sound like a food critic at their next dinner out, let's quickly recap our core vocabulary.
Let's run through them one more time.
First, we explored pungent, the sharply strong, intense aroma that physically wakes up your senses, like the smell of fresh brewed garlic or chilies.
Second, we learned zesty, an energetic, lively heat that gets your blood flowing and makes you sweat, rather than a heavy spice that just numbs your mouth.
Third was fermented, the chemical aging process where natural bacteria break down sugars to create deep, complex, salty, and sour flavors, perfectly showcased in those ruby red chopped chilies on the fish head.
Fourth was tender, meat that is soft, delicate, and easy to chew without much effort.
Fifth was deceptive, something that looks or smells one way, but is actually completely different, like a pitch black, terrible smelling cube of tofu that tastes like a garlicky dream once you bite into the crunchy shell.
And finally, we touched on woody. The deep, earthy flavor of smoke absorbed over time, like the smoked pork hanging above a winter hearth.
Those 6 words give you a really solid descriptive foundation for talking about complex food experiences in English.
They do.
You're no longer just saying, wow, this is spicy. You can actually explain why it tastes the way it does.
You have the tools to articulate the experience, but there's a bigger picture here that I think is really beautiful. When you study regional food like this, you inevitably end up studying the people who eat it.
The idea that you are what you eat, but applied to an entire culture.
Precisely. In China, the people of Hunan are famous for being fiery.
Fiery.
Yes. They are known culturally for having incredibly bold personalities, for being straightforward, deeply passionate, and above all, brave. The environment they live in and the food they eat reflects that exact same spirit.
It's a fascinating correlation. When your daily diet requires you to face down intense, zesty heat,
Yeah.
and when you regularly eat deceptive foods that challenge your senses and force you to overcome the locker room smell of sinky tofu,
Right, right.
and when you embrace these incredibly strong, pungent aromas,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically engaging in a daily practice of boldness. You're constantly pushing your own boundaries just by eating lunch.
You're training yourself to not back down from intensity.
Which leaves us with a final, slightly provocative thought for you to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
But let's hear it.
Think about this. If our daily diet truly shapes our personality and our culture,
Mm-hmm.
what does a lifetime of eating deceptive, zesty, and fiery foods actually do to a person's worldview?
Mm.
Does the simple daily act of eating brave food physically wire your brain to become a braver person when you step outside the kitchen?
It's a wonderful philosophical question. I mean, does conquering the chili pepper at the dinner table make you more willing to conquer the difficult challenges of everyday life?
I certainly don't have the definitive answer, but I'll tell you what, it makes me want to start eating a lot more spicy food just in case it makes me braver.
Well, after all this vivid talk of zesty heat, pungent fermented peppers, and sweating foreheads, I think both of us might need to go find a very large glass of cold milk to cool down.
Honestly, yes. My mouth is watering and I'm slightly terrified at the same time.
Same here.
We truly hope you all enjoyed this accessible, slow-paced journey through English linguistics and the incredible fiery culinary world of Hunan province.
It's been an absolute pleasure to unpack these flavors and words with you.
Absolutely. Now, if you enjoyed this language learning and culinary adventure, please take a second right now to like this deep dive, share it with a fellow food lover or someone practicing their English, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on our next exploration.
Don't forget to hit subscribe.
Next time you sit down to a zesty meal, think about whether that food is making you a little bit braver. See you next time.